What's going on, people, and welcome back to Total Oz Spurs. And before we get into it, make sure you're liking and subscribing to the channel. Hit that notification button for all future content. And guys, hit those comments up and let us know how you feel. A lot's happened the last couple of days, and a lot's not happened the last couple of days. Everybody knows, but we're going to say it again. James Maddison has signed for Tottenham Hotspurs. And I mean, the fan base is buzzing. I'm buzzing. D, how are you feeling?
Oh man, I'm the same as you, man. As soon as the announcement was made, and here we go for Fabrizio Romano that we got James Maddison, man, I was on top of the world. As a player we've been dying for, as a player we've been needing, the crowd midfielder ever since Ericsson has left. We've been lacking in those areas. We've had to have Kane drop deep into that area. So look, we've got a player on our hands now. He can really do a lot for us. And in this interview, he's actually come out and said he actually wants to, potentially do something while he's here. I think he's signing a 5-year deal. I think it's a 5-year deal he signed for. I think it's a 5-year deal, but
Yeah,
I think
it's 5-year deal.
yeah. Well, and then he spoke to Ange. He's like he likes what he sees. He likes the compassion that Ange told him. Um, but just his passion, you see the videos of his son holding the jersey, himself coming out and say he's Spurs, come on you Spurs, like this guy's gonna do a lot for us, and then, look, I'm hoping he can really spark us into get into that next level where we need to be. But look, I'm buzzing about the signing. I think we've been calling for it. All season last year we've been calling for a player like James Madison to come in to this team.
Yeah, well, I want to touch on what you said about Ange and Madison, and what I'm really liking about Ange at the moment is the fact that whether or not they are his signings or not, now we were chasing Madison before Ange signed as coach, that we
Mm,
know of. Not sure so much about Vicario, but even this like Madison deal, it does feel like a club signing. However, apparently Ange has been talking to Levy since January. So this
yeah.
could be his signing. But for me, it's you know the fact that he called up Madison and he said and straight up he goes, whether you come or not, that's down to you. But I'm just letting you know the Tottenham that you're going to play this year isn't going to be the Tottenham that you faced ever. And the thing to me is the fact that he's got the balls to sit there and go, you know what, I don't care if you sign or not, but I'm just letting you know that if you
Mm,
don't jump on this train, you may miss it. And
mm,
that's what I love. It's the mentality that Ange has at the moment is, you know what, risk it to get the biscuit. I know I'm people think I'm in over my head. I know people think that I might not be the manager to bring success to Tottenham. However,
mm,
I'm going to do all I can with what I know to do it. And
mm,
you're right. Everything you said on Madison is 100%. And obviously, like we all joke around tweets years ago when he was tweeting about Gareth Bale with wanting
yeah.
us to lose. But he's a United fan at the end of the day. He's not an Arsenal fan. He's a United fan. He's obviously deleted those tweets since he signed for us. But the way he's integrated in the club straight away, he was come on you Spurs. He was in the club shop with his son picking out a shirt. It seemed like he really was excited to
Mm,
join Tottenham, and that was what I could say. The same thing for Vicario. Him and Madison both seem like they want to be at Tottenham,
yeah.
like they felt privileged to be at this club, and that's for me that's more important than who we buy is how they react to being signed by us. And I'm super excited. We called it all last season for Maddison. We said that we should have went for him at the start of last season, but better late than never, right? And that 5-year deal is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of that deal, he's 31 years old. Playmakers usually start to slow down a bit. Players usually get a bit older. So I think it's the perfect length for the age. He's 26, hitting his peak. And you know what? He might be one of those players that might actually convince Harry Kane to stay if we do well.
I'm hoping he does. Look, I'm hoping he does convince Harry Kane to stay. But I know there's talks that Andrew's gonna have a talk to Kane as well. But look, I'm hoping Kane looks at the guy. Okay, you got Madison, you got Vicario. If you get a couple more, maybe I will stay.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping he does really stay with us. And yeah, but nah, I gotta give it to I can't give Daniel Levy too much credit. Like it's a it's a great signing, but I want to see more. I need to see more. I need to see more signings coming through the gate, and then I'll be all over it. I'll be like, okay. Now I'm starting to see a process starting to
Yeah,
flow.
well, for me to get to for Levy to get an 8 or a 9 out of 10, he needs to sign two decent centre backs,
Hmm.
a backup winger for Sun or Kulu, whichever
Yeah,
side, maybe even two wingers because I don't unless Ange utilizes Hill and Porro as the wingers, and then he needs to get rid of at least five players: Dyer, Winks, Sanchez, Tanganga, and Langley's gone, and Davies. Those five need to go, like
yeah,
minimum.
yeah,
That's not including Rodon, um, Lo Celso, and Dombele. Like we need to figure out what we're going to do with those three. I think Rodon will go as well. I
yeah,
think that Ange may assess Lo Celso and Dombele and
yeah. I heard
see
it there.
where they're at. I
Yeah,
think it's a smart choice because there is a player in there for Lo Celso. He seems to perform really well for Argentina. And they really, really rate him, the Argentinians. And Unai Emery apparently is now looking at him, Villa, because um,
play with them in
he played with him at is it
Villarreal.
Villarreal, Villarreal,
Yeah,
and so and with Ndombele, he's got bags of talent, but he's just lazy. And that's the
mm,
thing. If someone can get in there and if Ange can get in there and convince Ndombele to work hard, we have a baller in that player. We have a Dembele mixed with an Ericsson. That's how I thought. And when we brought in Ndombele, I thought if this guy can perform at his peak and and because of the physical like the physicality and the dribbling that he has, right, and the eye for passing and the creativity that he has, I'm like this is Dembele and Ericsson combined.
yeah,
Obviously, he's not as good as Ericsson attacking, and he's not as good as Dembele carrying the ball. But I'm like, he's got a mixture of both. We could have a really good player here, and he's really let us down and Napoli down. I know that he won a Scudetto, but he barely played. But that for me, I think if Ange decides to keep one of them, then so be it. But I think for an 8 or 9 out of 10 window for the club, we need to at least get rid of five players, a couple
hmm
of the loanees, um, and we need to start sending our young kids out. So there's five players that I want to talk about in our youth or classes youth players. It's Dorrington, who's a centre back, Alfie
hmm
Devine, who everyone knows, Dane
hmm
Scarlett, who everyone knows, Troy Parrott, and the talented Mikey Moore. Now, for me, I'm gonna go on my guts. I feel like Devine should be loaned out to a championship team. Scarlett needs to have a little run in the team. I think Parrott's probably a bit too old now for a loan. So if he's not going to be in the team, sell him. And Mikey Moore's an absolute talent. So for me, I'd keep him in the club, but I'd have him training with the first team and playing with the under 21s. What are your thoughts on those five players, and what do you think we should do?
Yeah. Nah, look, we got some talent on our hands. Divine, Scarlett. The Mikey Moore. He's absolutely brilliant. But yeah, look, it's gonna be. Ed's gonna have his hands full with these young blokes. So I mean, as you said, yeah, Divine definitely needs to get loaned out to a championship. I think maybe even like even like a Premier League team. I reckon Luton Town, maybe even Luton Town,
Do you,
loan
do
him
you
to Luton.
think do you think like Devine can be the backup to Maddison? Because I know we're linked with Alex Scott, and he's a Tottenham player, and he's played really well at Bristol City this year. But do you think maybe Ange might look at Devine and go, "I don't need him. I got Devine," or do you think the best thing for Devine because of his age, he still is under 20, whereas Alex Scott's I think is 21. Do you think it's better if we loan him out just to give him a couple of seasons, getting kicked around in the lower leagues, playing men football instead of playing under 21s?
Mm, yeah, look, that's a hard decision. I think me personally, for what I've seen from Divine, he's got a bags of talent. He obviously he's only scored one goal and that was against Marine. Come on. But for me, I reckon I think we line them out. I was gonna keep him, but I think maybe line them out. Just so a championship team. Just to give him a bit more game time. A lot more game time. He needs a lot more game time. Um, Scarlett, yeah, as you said, keep him around the first team. Dorrington, I haven't really watched much of him. I wouldn't really. know too much about him, but I heard he's a decent centre back. So I mean, maybe yeah. Look, I say keep him, and then make him more obviously keep, and then Parrot. Look, yeah, he's at that age. We thought he was going to be the next step to Harry Kane. Go to Millwall, and then succeed from there. But I think now he's just with his injury from MK Doms. I think he was loaned to MK Doms.
No, that was 7-4. I think he was at. Was even no,
Oh,
it was at Preston North End.
that's it. I thought it was, yeah. Preston Northern. Look, I think maybe it's time for Parrot to probably go somewhere else. Obviously, sad to say, but yeah, look, the kid. We thought the kid was going to be a next shining Kane, but I think Scarlett's kind of overtaken him. But yeah, look, those are my loanies who I think should really stay and go.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll do a separate video on the loanies coming back in, the likes of Ndombele subs, like we mentioned before. But there's rumours that Dyer has openly come out and said that he is willing to fight for his spot at Tottenham. He's willing to show Ange. And look, I'm going to let you take the floor with this one again. What are your thoughts to Dyer coming out and saying that he's going to fight, he's going to show Ange what he's made of? Do you think that what he has is good enough for Tottenham?
100%, definitely no, no. This guy is, as we always say here, is freaking diabolical. He's literally shit. He's absolutely shit. This guy is way past. He's done. He's done his time here. I don't want to see him in that jersey. I just don't want to see him on the field. To be honest, he's absolutely shit. Like, do you expect him to play in the back two? There's no way he's gonna concede in the back two. Oh, back four. Sorry, back four. Not back two. Back four. Sorry. Um, I I really hope that Daniel Lee really doesn't give him a new contract because he doesn't deserve one. He doesn't deserve to be in this club because he has been so shit. I think the start. Look, under Mourinho, under Conte, he was alright, but then last season he's just been absolutely shit. He just couldn't make a tackle to save his life, and then when he goes and tries to make a tackle, he always backs off.
Yeah.
He backs off the players, and the players beat him, and then yeah, they pull off a shot, and it's just like, oh my god. But I hope this isn't true. That Dyer really wants to fight for a spot. He's going to be literally probably at the bottom of the list. To be honest, that's my thought of this. He's going to be at the bottom of the list to try
Yeah,
and get
well,
on that field.
for me as well, it's I don't see him make tackles. I can't remember the last time he made a tackle. He's reading at the game. He had a half decent spell under Conte when Conte first came in, but I think that was because he went so defensive and he had, Romero just come in. Romero had a good season, and then you think about, we kind of had Davies on that left hand side who was okay, but I don't want to see him back in this. I think he's done enough. I think Angel will see within the first couple of days that Dyer isn't it. And with the defenders that we're linked to, Mickey Van der Ven, young, quick, strong, and then you look at
Taps over.
Tapsoba. I don't know. I honestly think that I think Dyer's gone. I think Dyer's just trying to. He's just putting it out there to try and get them to buy a ticket to sign a new contract, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Nah, look,
I
I don't
think
think
he needs to just
I don't think
suck
either.
it up and realize he's gone.
Yeah. Who would you sell him to, or what club would come in for him? To be honest.
Anyone? Apparently, well, there was a little rumor that the Saudis were looking at him, but I think that might be people trying to kind of convince everyone that fucking
The Saudis are fucking
the
coming in
Saudis
for
want
him.
him. So
To be honest, I would literally go. Here's his contract. Just take it with you. See you later. Just take him with you.
yeah,
Seriously,
but the thing is, the Saudis might chuck 30 mil on him. Like I know he's not worth it, but they might go fuck it. Like
oh
we want you,
wow.
like you want him 35 mil. Yeah, no worries. Boom, we got the money. Like if we can, like look at fucking Nunes at fucking Ruben Neves. like what 65, 75 mil. The guy is fucking 30, 31. He's just come out of his peak period from Wolves, and they signed him for 65 or 75 million. Like they're throwing money at players at the moment. So why can't we do that for him?
Look at Koulibaly.
Yeah, he played dog shit for Chelsea, and then all of a sudden
he's gone to Saudi Arabia. So I mean, look, I think if you put those two together, Koulibaly and fucking Dyer, the whole season last season, who was probably the better one? I think they're both the same. To be honest,
they're both shit. Koulibaly, I wanted Koulibaly when he was peak at Napoli, but I think he just got too slow. He's too slow for the Premier League. He's not good. He's had like 2 decent games. But you're right. You know, they're pretty much chalk and cheese, those two.
They're both the same. They'll both just had the same kind of season. So I mean, look, if the Saudis do come in for Dyer, I will see if I was Daniel Levy, I'll be going. I wouldn't hesitate. I wouldn't go. Hey, take him, just go. See you later. I don't want him. But look, I hope it's not true though. He wants to try. Look, I'll give him credit. He's trying to fight for his place, but he just does not. I don't think Ange is going to like him, to be honest. I think Ange is going to really realize that. Oh, okay, this guy is absolutely shit because all the Tottenham fans are saying it. So, yeah, that's just plain stupid if he tries.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. So, yeah, and there's one more player that looks like it looks like there's been rumours that he might be on his way, and it's Pierre-Emerick Holjberg.
Yeah.
Looks like he's going to Athletico Madrid. Is Holjberg's middle name Emerick? I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, it is.
No, Emil.
Emmerich's fucking Aubameyang. See.
Emil.
But he looks like he's going. It looks like Athletico Madrid is sniffing around, and look, I've been very critical of Holjberg this season. I think he's had a good goal scoring season, but he's been for me very off in a lot of games. And as we say it all the time, all he does is kind of flail his arm around and yell when things don't go well. But you know, do you think? You know, selling him to Athletico is a good idea. Do you think we can offload him, or do you think that we really need to hold on to him?
Nah, I don't think he's an Ange. I don't think he suits the system. He's more of a defensive midfielder, and I think Basuma tops him off. You know, I think Basuma does a way better job. You know, he can carry the ball from the back, where I think Holjberg just tries to pass it off because he knows he can't carry the ball. And exactly what you said. He just screams at players where he knows when it was his fault at the end of the day. So I mean, I don't think I would sell him because I just don't think he suits the Ange's system at all. You know, Ange likes quick midfielders. You know, and Pierre's not. He's decently quick, but he's not that quick. So you get what I mean. But I'll give him. He's got a great work ethic. Like he's a decent defensive midfielder. But to me, I think he'll do good jobs at Athletico. You know, I think he'll do wonders there. Because who was it? Who's their coach again? What's her name? Oh, I can't remember his name.
Simeone.
That's it, Simeone. Well, the way they play their system, I think it'll suit them. You know, they play a lot of defensive tactics. So I reckon it'll work for Holjberg to go there. So for me, it's a no-brainer. I would sell him to Athletico, or that's my preference. I reckon.
Well, I think we both said that we don't sell him, and that's with like we mentioned we mentioned Alex Scott a bit earlier, and he's a player that like everyone's buzzing about. He's young. I think he's 21 years old. Bristol City. They're only going to sell him for about 20 to 25 mil. He's a Tottenham supporter, and for me, you know how we were talking about earlier about who can back up Maddison and maybe Devine. If it's not Devine, then we go and get this kid, this Alex Scott kid. Adds a bit of creativity in midfield. He can play as a number 8. Can play out wide. He's played a bit of a winger and can play as a number 9 or number 10. Sorry, behind the striker. So if we're going for any midfielder, and you know, a lot of teams are looking at this kid. I think he could be a good option if we sell Holjberg and chuck that. If we sell Holjberg for 25, 30 mil, maybe even 35 to Atheltico, because I feel like you can get a bit more for Holjberg. I'd go for Alex Scott and get him in, and then utilize Alex Scott with Maddison, and then you have Basuma, Bentancur, and Skip in the midfield. Behind those two, so they rotate the three of those with Sarr. I think Sarr needs to have some games this season. I would personally, this is my analysis. I would have the partnerships, so I'd create partnerships. Right, I'd have Bentancur and Basuma as our starting partnership, and then Skip and Sarr as the two backups. So what we do is when we hit cup games, because don't forget this season we start I think it's the FA Cup in the second round instead of the third round now. So we're more likely to play a lower league team. In that game, I'd play Sarr and Skip as the pivot midfield with Scott in front of them. Have them, you know what I mean? Like, it sounds a bit weird, but on FIFA, I always have that backup team that I switch out on cup games or weaker teams. And if we are playing Luton, you chuck in Scott, Sarr, and Skip. It's not working. Change them. Bring on Basuma, Bentancur, Maddison. Run the midfield over. You know what I mean? Yeah. And this is the last little bit we're going to talk about, guys, before we head off. Is I don't know much about him. You didn't even know we're linked to him until I told you just before this video. But it looks like we're linked to I think it's Gustav Isaksson, a Danish winger. I can't pronounce that team's name. Everyone knows who it is. I think it's Midtjylland. And he looks like he could be, if we don't get Barnes or Bowen, which both will probably be a lot more expensive than we want to pay for, a backup winger, because the likes of Kulusevski and Son. Do you think going for an Isaksson, young winger that looks half decent? I haven't seen anything of him, but I've heard he looks all right. Or do you think we give the likes of Brian Hill, have Hill and Porro as the backup wingers, and then keep Spence to fight for right back with Royal? Do you think going for a young winger that we don't know, or do you think the prime target should be the likes of a player like Barnes that we know can do it in the Premier League?
Well, I answer that question, but there's a lot of people that were saying if Kane does leave, if he does go to Bayern Munich, I think they were saying that they're going to use Son or Richie as our potential strikers. So utilize Son to a striker role, and then put Richie in as a backup striker role. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to try and get like a Barnes, just a real dribbly winger. So for me, I don't know too much about this Isak. Fuck, that's it. Isaksson, sorry. Yeah, I don't know too much about him. I wouldn't really. I have to really watch this kid, see what he's really about. Maybe go have a look at some of his highlights. I haven't really seen much of him, but look, if he's a young player who's just on the up and coming, it's a bit. Yeah, how you going? Like for me, I would seriously go for like a Barnes, but then you gotta be paying a shitload money to Leicester just for high.
I think they wanted like 40 mil from him. Like, how can you get your best player for 40 mil and then you want to sell Barnes for 40 mil? For me, I think Barnes is with the relegation. I think 25, 30 mil is good enough for Barnes. He's a prem-proven winger. For me, I'd go for Barnes. I like Barnes. I've been saying it for about a year now. About Barnes, I think Barnes is a very good player. I think he tore Porro apart. He plays really well on that left-hand side. He'd push Son, and that's the thing. Son's never had competition on that side. For me, competition with Barnes would be perfect. It would mean that he has to perform, because if he doesn't, they've got a direct replacement. And I think Porro, even though we like to play an inverted on that right-hand side, and Hill kind of doesn't do it on that right-hand side, maybe getting a young winger after that, because I think the attack does need to be addressed. I think we need to have a backup for Maddison, a backup for Son, and a backup for Kulu. And I don't know if Porro is going to be the guy to back up Kulu. I don't know if he can do what we need him to do. However, I will say I'd like to give him a go. I think he could do it. I just don't know if he's going to.
Yeah, I agree. I think Porro could do a great job on that right-hand side if he's a backup to Kulu. And also, look, as you said about Jen Spence on the right back, look, I think he can. I think give Jen Spence a go. I think he can do well. Like you see what he did at Nottingham Forest. Or was it Middlesbrough? No, it was Middlesbrough. Was it Middlesbrough or Nottingham Forest? Or was that?
He was loaned off from Middlesbrough to Notts, not Forest.
Yeah. So there you go. But I think Jed Spence could do wonders for us. You know, I think he's a player. There's a player in them that hope Ange can really get something out of him. I think him and Emerson as our right backs, and then you have obviously we're getting a Doji back on the left, but look, I think Porro will do. I think Porro will be great up top with like a good backup to Kulusevski, and then on the left, yeah, look, I would love to see Hill come in. Like we've seen glimpses of what Hill does. The game
He's a
against
Europa
Crystal
League winner.
Palace,
He's a Europa
exactly,
League winner.
exactly. That game against Crystal Palace, like yeah, we've seen little glimpses of what he can do. Like he was just touch and go, touch and go. He was just and that's what we need. I think that's what Ange likes to do touch and go. So I mean, for me, I would give maybe a Hill a go as well, just to see what he can do. But yeah, look, if we really want to get Harvey Barnes or this young Danish winger, then yeah, look, it's gonna be tough. But yeah, far from the Danish winger, yeah, I wouldn't really look into too much. Well, I don't really know too much about him.
I
So
think that's the last. I think that's the last position we need to address for the offset. For me, 2 centre backs is the next priority minimum. 3 even if we get rid of majority of our centre backs, bar Romero. Like if we get rid of Sanchez, Rodon, Dyer, Davies, and Tanganga. I don't think Tanganga will go because he has a bit of pace about him. So I think Ange might keep him, and maybe Sanchez he might keep him at if we can't get the centre backs. I think Sanchez or Tanganga won't go until probably the arse end of the transfer window, just to ensure that we don't go short on centre backs because. One injury to Romero or to the new centre back that we eventually sign, we're in trouble again. We're back to the shit. So I think Ange will play it smart. He'll play it careful. He'll definitely I think he'll definitely keep probably Tanganga for me and probably Sanchez if anything. I think Rodon's too slow. Dyer's Dyer, and I think that Davies will go as well. And I'm not opposed to that, right? I'm not opposed to having Sanchez and Tanganga sitting on the bench and only getting, one game every fucking month. And it's only a sub to shore up the arse end of the game or whatever. I just don't want them starting any games. I'd rather see Dorrington come up and have a couple of games if we're like in strife. I know he's a young lad, but like what's the harm? What's the harm in having a young lad come in?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Yeah, they'll probably be. I was going to say the exact same thing. I think those are my 2 centre backs I'll keep because they're pacey. Dyer and Davies and Rodon, they can go because they're just too slow. Dyer's diabolical. Rodon's got no pace, and Davies pretty much he's not a natural centre back. He's more of a left back, but he can play that position. So. Yeah, I think Sanchez and Tanganga will stay till probably maybe the end of the window if we don't get the proper signings. If we don't get our signings, they'll be just there to cover us. So look, it's gonna be a big window. Still more to do in positions, but look, we're on the right track. With the signing of Maddison and Vicario, we just need a bit more, man.
Yeah, look, you're completely right. We're not done, and like I said, at the moment, if the window's only 3 out of 10 for me, we need to get those centre backs, at least 2. We need a backup winger, and then maybe just to fill out the squad a bit more, another backup centre back, and then maybe a young lad like Alex Scott or this Saxon to kind of cover, other positions. Like I said, though, Alex Scott would be my prime. If we're not going to go for Barnes, I'd get Alex Scott. Because he can play wide and he can play through the middle, so that gives a bit of versatility. But I don't like this idea of as a versatile player because I prefer a player that knows his role 100%, as opposed to a player that can kind of play that role and play it to a good ability. But I want to have the best player in the best position. So on that note, guys, thank you very much for joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Click that bell button down below for all future content. And let us know how you feel about, Maddison, Dyer, Holjberg to Atheltico. the loanees, the young lads in the youth academy that might be featuring this season in and around the first team, and let us know how you feel. And guys, we always say here at Total Spurs, stay Spursy.
Stay Spursy, guys.